Hello viewers, myself is Dr. Neeta and you are watching my channel Learn Literature with Dr. Neeta. So let us begin today's topic.
Hello dear students, in yet another video of narrative techniques, today we are going to discuss about the technique of characterization. In the first part of this video of narrative technique, you have learnt about the art of plot structure, how plot is used. That was in the part first of the narrative techniques. For that you may visit the YouTube channel and take a look at that part of narrative techniques. So let us begin characterization as a narrative technique. So these are the narrative techniques which I am going to make you understand one by one. The first one was the plot structure and second is the characterization, and in the next video I would cover up point of view and setting. So characterization is the fundamental narrative technique used by the writers to create, portray and develop the characters in a story. So characterization is that art with the help of which the writer is creating the character. He is portraying the overall personality and overall character of that person, and simultaneously you may also see the development of the character in the story, how the behavior has changed, how the attitude of the character has changed. You may notice in the story when the narrative is going on, and this is done with the help of the art of characterization. So characterization conveys information about character. So what you get in this story is the information about the characters, including their physical appearance. So writer talks about the physical appearance of the different characters. He talks about the personality. Also he comments on the thinking and the beliefs and the relationship, so that the reader may understand with those characters, reader may understand those characters and may connect with them on a deeper level. So this is the motto of the writer, that he is providing a number of information regarding the character, regarding his physical appearance and personality, as well as the mental qualities. He portrays them by using the different devices, and the purpose of it is to make the reader understand the character in a proper manner, so that they may connect with them. Effective characterization brings characters to life. So in a story, which character would be called a good character? The character which appears to be lifelike. It means the characterization brings character to life, means the characters who have been represented in the story are looking lifelike and make them more believable. If the characters are realistic, or the characters we can relate them in our life, so they would be believable, they would be relatable. It means we would be able to relate them in our life. They would be memorable, and definitely they would be lovable if these are having all those qualities. So the effective characterization is very essential to make the story interesting and lovable. Well-crafted characterization enhances readers' interest. If the characterization has been done by the writer in a proper manner, if the characters are well crafted, then it enhances readers' interest. Then the readers would be interested in reading the story, and they would try to understand the story at a better plane. So how many kind of characterization you get in those stories on the narrative? Try to understand this. Authors use different types of characterization in their narratives. Mainly two kinds of characterization are there. One is the direct characterization, another is the indirect characterization. Now, what is the difference between them? So, first look at the direct characterization. This technique involves explicitly stating or describing the traits of a character. Here, the writer himself is talking about the character. For example, there is some protagonist in the story, and writer himself is talking to the reader, or himself narrating the qualities, narrating the personality of the characters. It means this is direct characterization. Direct characterization means the writer himself is talking to the reader and telling about the different characters. This is the direct way of characterization. And what is indirect characterization? In this type of characterization, the qualities of the character are revealed through their actions, dialogues, thoughts, or interactions with the other characters. Readers themselves find out these characteristics by observing these indirect cues. It means the qualities of a character or the personality traits of a character are not told to the reader directly by the author, but reader himself understands them. How he understands those qualities? They are revealed through the actions of the character. When the characters are making actions in the story, certain qualities would definitely be found out by the reader. What he is speaking, what he is thinking, what the characters are thinking, what characters are speaking, and how the characters are interacting with the other characters. Or when the reader observes all these things in a story, the reader himself realizes the characteristics of the character. It means the writer is not directly talking to the reader and telling about the characters, but the readers themselves trying to understand them. So, this way of characterization is indirect characterization. Normally in the stories, if there are a number of characters, the writers use both these methods. Some of the qualities of some of the characters are revealed by the writer himself, while the other characters, the qualities of other characters are either told by the different characters of the story, or the reader himself understands those qualities. So, these are the two types of characterizations which are used in the narrative, and normally the mixed kind of characterization is used by the narrators. Now, the question arises, what are the techniques for effective characterization? It means when you are analyzing a story, what thing you should try to understand so that you may appreciate the art of characterization. So, those would be the point which were already be taken care of by the author. For effective characterization, the author highlights the following area. Appearance. If the author is talking about the appearance of the character, the writer describes the physical attribute, the physical qualities of the character, his height, his weight, or how he is looking, choice of clothing, what kind of clothes he is wearing, and these could easily project characters' personality, occupation, and social status. Through these things, the reader would easily understand when the writer is describing about the personality, when the writer is talking about the personality traits of a character, and he is talking about his clothes. So, through these things, through this description, the reader would easily understand what kind of personality he is, what kind of occupation this character is having, and what is his social status. For example, if the clothes worn by the character are of cheap kind, they are torn, this would definitely indicate that the character belongs to a poor family. Second thing which should be considered or taken into importance is the dialogues. To reveal the personalities, education level, background, and emotional state of characters, the author puts specific language in the statements used during the dialogues. So sometimes in the narratives, you must have noticed that the characters of the story are speaking something. It means they are having the dialogue. Sometimes there are dialogues, sometimes a number of times there are dialogues even in the story. So why this method has been used by the writer? Why he is not talking himself about the character? Why why the characters are speaking? As you know, the dialogue is a thing of drama, but it is still used in the narratives, in novels and in stories. You must have read some dialogues of the characters. So when the characters are speaking, the author chooses such language and he puts it into the mouth of the character so that the reader may understand about his personality, about his educational level, about his background, etc. So the dialogues that are spoken in the narrative also play a significant role. This is a technique used for the effective characterization. For example, if the writer is to describe the timidity of a character, the cowardness of a character, the author would use the hesitant language. If the character is hesitant in speaking something, it means he is a timid character. Writer has not to tell anything to the reader, but the reader would himself realize what kind of character he is if the reader is listening to the dialogue, listening to the or reading the dialogue or reading the language that is spoken by that particular character. So if everything is told by the story writer, then the story would definitely become monotonous. To break that monotony, certain dialogues are also included in the story as a technique. Now the actions. By featuring the ways in which the different characters act and react in various situations, and by projecting their values, belief, the author provides powerful insight into the character's true nature. So one thing is the outward appearance, another thing is the inward. What is the nature of the character? So how the nature of the character would be projected to the reader. So actions, action is also there in the story. Action is also there. For example, a fighting scene has been described. So though action is the part again of a drama, but still in narratives some action is there. This action is used as a technique. So when the character is shown in an action, in what way? In which the different characters are acting and reacting in various situations. How the characters are acting and reacting in different situations, and what are their values, beliefs, etc. By projecting them, the writer provides a powerful insight into the character's true nature. So by observing all these things, how he is acting and reacting, and how their values and beliefs have been projected in the story, the reader would understand what kind of nature this character is having. So one thing is the outward appearance, he is told by through his clothes and or everything, and another is the internal, what is there in his nature. So this is by action and by his dialogues. The way characters interact with other individual in the story highlights their social skill and background. How they are reacting with the other people in the story, it would highlight their social background and social skill. Now the inner thoughts and feelings, which are not described even in the dialogues and action. How? Because dialogues and actions would convey only those feelings which could be spoken. If something is going on in the brain of the author, in the brain of the character, how the author will project it. To project the inner feelings which are not discussed with anyone even in the story, the writer uses the device of interior monologues. Interior monologue is the device when the character is sitting silently talking to himself. Nobody else is listening to him. So by using these interior monologue as a device, The author makes the reader understand characters' hidden fears and desires. So, what is hidden within the character, which the character is unable to say even to the other characters of the story, that is projected through the interior monologues. Interior monologues means the monologue, it means the character is talking to himself, but that is projected in the story through this interior monologue. So, you have noticed that the outer personality has been described in what manner. The writer has himself told about his personality, etc. And then what are his social skill, what kind of personality he is, what kind of nature he is having, it is reflected through dialogues and action. And what is hidden within his brain, that is described by interior monologues. Now, reactions to conflict. To make the reader understand the strength and weaknesses of the character. So, each and every character has got certain strength and weaknesses. So, narrator would not tell that this is the strength or this is the weakness, but reader would realize what is the strength or what is the weakness. How the reader would realize? The author takes the help of the responses that the characters make. So, there is a situation, maybe the critical situation, it may be and how the character is responding to that situation, that is projected in the story. If he is asserting his personality at that place, it means it is his strength. If he is retreating back, it is his weakness. So, the critical situations are put, conflicts are put in the story as a device, so that the reader can easily understand the strength and weaknesses of the different characters. And author, with the help of the responses, reactions to those critical situation, make the reader understand whether the character is having the strength or not. Yet another technique is the backstory. So, what is the backstory? Story of past. So, if you are having any character in present and he is acting and reacting, but it is definite that characters' past experience and history are revealed, as because they significantly influence the present behavior and choices of the character. For example, there is some character and he is having the habit of abusing everyone. So, the writer would definitely tell the back story and would tell how this character has developed this habit of abusing each one and everyone. So, that is the back story. So, when the back story is told, it is also a kind of technique, so that the effectiveness of characterization may be increased. So, strong and effective characterization makes the understanding of the story better. So, these are the techniques which author used to use, and when you are reading a story, keep in mind all those techniques, because on the basis of these techniques, which of them have been used by the author, you would appreciate his art of characterization. I think you would be able to understand characterization as a narrative techniques. So, thanks for your patience listening, and definitely see the next video for the further techniques of narration.